Hi guys, it's Matt here from Oathwire, and we are going to be covering some Frostgrave this evening, or your morning, or your afternoon. And I've got a special guest straight in from Osprey itself, which is amazing. His name's Benji. Benji, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Benji. I work in the marketing department for Osprey Games, and I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for having me on.
No, thank you for coming. It's awesome that we've got Osprey coming onto our little podcast, so I'm really chuffed about that. So I said we've got the normal little schedule, and then we're going to be covering what's new for Frostgrave. We are going to sort of cover as our main topic what is actually new for Frostgrave, which is the new supplement that's coming out. So we're going to skip that a little bit and just go on what's new on your painting tables. Benji, what are you painting? What are you doing?
So I am currently ploughing my way through 3 boxes of Stargraves. I am remarkably slow,
Fair enough.
as all of my friends know. But I have a real tendency to. I really enjoy modelling. I like taking everything off of the sprue. I like looking very carefully at everything, and I love the possibilities of what I can put together, which generally means that I have a tendency to open multiple boxes of things at once and be incredibly disorganized. I'm dreadful.
Yeah, but there lays bad madness. In my opinion,
Indeed.
I only it's that jumping around motion that I have to sort of put to one side, because when I buy anything nice and shiny, it's like, oh, I'll get that one out and then don't get anything else done. So yeah, a dangerous part of the hobby, opening too many boxes.
I quite like it though. I think there's something nice that takes me right back to like flipping through old vinyl records or whatever in a store. You get all your bits into a huge pile and you're searching for the ideal head, which in my current situation, I'm trying to put together as many monkey men as possible. I really like the animal heads, absolutely loving them. So I'm trying to work my way through there and be as ordered as I can, but dreadful. How about you?
So at the moment, I'm actually painting some of the North Star beasts from the Frostgrave, actually, because I bought buckets of beastery, and most of them have just sort of sat there in their plastic boxes looking at me. And doing a couple of beasts a week is quite easy. So they're not up to Kev's standards, they're not up to a lot of people's standards. I'll live with that, but I'm happy to get them done. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been doing a bit of scenery as well. So I'm ongoing with sort of frozen trees with lots of snow on it, so I can use them for Frostgrave. I can use them for Oathmark as well as a bit of scatter terrain. So some stones and bits and pieces in it. It just looks nice. And I'm doing some sort of swampy dead ones. So I got some 3D resin trees that I bought, and I've now got a 3D printer, and I bought the STL. So it looks like the same one. I don't know, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to be just printing that up, building some like pretty cool bits and pieces. And I finished a couple of statues as well. One of the Mark Cobblestone Cthulhu ones. It's a 15 mil one. You can't see that, guests, but I am showing Benji. So
that's glorious.
Yeah, I love the Cthulhu theme. I've got some of the other bits and pieces that are out there for Cthulhu. So you can't beat a bit of a statues hanging around on your Frostgrave table, or as an Oathmark, or as anything else, to be honest. So
I think now is like the best time for me picking up Frostgrave terrain, because it's with Christmas. There's everything is all wintry. There's snow on all of the things. Everyone is building dioramas for their living room, whatever. So now is the time to start hoarding all the stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I now got on Friday. I'm gonna go from work. I'm gonna go into the range in B&M, look for those, 50 pence, £1 trees with the snow on it, sort of stuff. Yeah. They're the pine tree looking trees that you see absolutely buckets of people doing on YouTube, going, here's this, do this. So I'm going to have a go at doing this and see what it looks like. Probably won't be as good as they do it, but so free trees, cheap trees are good.
Yeah, like there's basically 2 opportunities. There are 2 windows in the year. One of them is Christmas, and the other big terrain opportunity is Halloween for all the weird and wonderful little bits and pieces. Outside of that, nothing. But certainly nothing that I found.
No. I picked up a load of skulls for Halloween from the range. which I am going to be using for various unpleasant looking pieces of terrain. One I'm going to do with the skull sort of hanging over the top with a fountain of blood pouring out of its mouth. So I think that's going to be a nice one. I don't know what, it just took my fancy, so I was going to do that. I don't think it fits into anything. It doesn't fit into anything, but I'll make it fit.
How are you finding the 3D printer?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's lots of I keep going out and people will hear me and go, oh, Matt's gonna say he likes metal. I like metal. So I like a sculpt. I like because there's some amazing sculpts out there. Don't get me wrong, the STLs. I've got a couple of guys. They are nice figures, but are they as good as some of the metal stuff out there? No. Are they as good as some of the plastic stuff out there? If you want that sort of chipping and chopping and changing, you have to get the plastic. So that, it's fine. It's easy to work. You have to put a little bit of investment, a little bit of time into it. I did have a USB problem. I found out my USB was too new for it to work with the Photon S, which I didn't know was a thing. And it had to, yes, apparently it said, oh, it works much better with this, and it wasn't picking up the files. So got spent a £5 on a new plugin, and it was off it goes. So I'm getting bits and pieces. Mostly it's for like things like barrels, and I've got no industrial oil barrels and stuff for Frostgrave and stuff like that. So I was printing some things like that off. So it's sort of like scatter terrain, but there's the odd figure out there, or I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take that. So I'm all about the Lord of the Rings, and the particular. I'm not going to advertise them, but the particular STLs I'm buying are very Lord of the Rings. They don't say Lord of the Rings, but they are Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings inspired.
Yes. But they're really nice. They're like the halflings are very human looking, if that makes sense. So, they're proportioned properly. They're not great big fat people with stupid sort of character, cartoony features and all that sort of stuff. So the dwarfs the same. So I like that kind of stuff. And as I found out recently, light fantasy or low fantasy, that was it, and not high fantasy. I didn't know that was a thing, but so get one if you can get bargains out there, and they're useful for wargaming. So
I thought about it. There's such a world of possibility out there, but it's time investment in terms of setting up projects and stuff, and also as a person who has already mentioned how I have a problem for starting projects and just getting my teeth stuck into too many things. Oh boy, the whole world of that to get stuck into as well.
I do some Facebook moderation. I do this. I do a bit of YouTube. I play games. That's the reason why I'm still single.
Married to the hobby.
Absolutely. At the moment, she is my mistress, wife, and master. So, but yes, so we move on. So, guys, the main topic today, which is why Benji's come on to talk to me and to you, is the new Blood Legacy, the new supplement that's coming out for Frostgrave. Super excited about that. I'm hoping my copy should land tomorrow. So fingers crossed. Postman, do your job. But so what do I know about it? I know it's got vampires in it. I know it's got giants in it. Apart from that, I'm not so sure. So I'm going to leave you to start talking about it, and I'm going to start pinning you down with some questions.
That sounds good. Feel free to chip in with the things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought this would be a good opportunity to sort of make headway and sort of come in and see as an experiment, I guess, for the community, for having me on and discussing one of our new projects that's coming up. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a while since we've had our last big Frostgrave supplement. We now, I believe, if I have counted them correctly, have 10 supplements for Frostgrave, which is unreal to me.
That is.
Just looking at the sheer volume of Frostgrave supplements and Frostgrave products that we have, it is incredible. Like, I cannot get my head around how the author Joe churns out so much stuff, and just keeps it to the same standard. Like I cannot imagine. So yeah, we have Blood Legacy, which comes out tomorrow as of recording, which is the 9th of December.
Yep.
Blood Legacy is a new paperback for 2nd edition Frostgrave rules. It is dark. The nights are drawing in. What a better time! What better a time to have vampires, to have giants. So the book focuses specifically on fleshing out the vampires for the game, giving rules for building your own vampires.
Really?
There's new spells for vampires. I've literally just uploaded all of the spell cards and stuff, which is quite exciting.
That is quite exciting.
I'm a big horror fan, so like the vampire thing really is very close and near and dear to my heart.
Yes.
Other than that, there's also giants, which I personally am less involved with, but giants are great.
Who doesn't like a giant?
Right, because it's just an excuse to have miniatures that are slightly easier to paint.
That's a bit controversial. Giants are quite difficult to paint. I have painted 2 giants. There's so much skin on there.
Just the surface area. The new supplement has fleshed out rules for giants, frost giants and fire giants. It has some new spells for which you can now download for free. Spells for fire giants and rules for creating fire giant wizards. It also adds in new types. So there's now the giant-blooded soldiers. So we've got rules for making your troops giant-blooded, which is quite cool.
Cool.
Talking about vampires and stuff, the book features new vampire hunters. There's a blood merchant who I think is really awesome.
That sounds cool.
With the vampires. So other than that stuff, those are the big cool headline things.
That is some pretty big headlines as far as I'm concerned.
They're pretty juicy.
Yeah.
Of note as well, though, which is partially why I want to be here, because there are also new rules for enfranchised players. So anybody who's been playing a lot of Frostgrave, we've got new rules for high-level wizards. So if you've played an awful lot of Frostgrave, then the book specifically has new rules for taking your games to the next level. So there's more experience point stuff. There's stuff about like increased health and increased item slots and where to sort of take your game if you want to level up into kind of new game plus, as it were. So if you're an experienced player, there's lots of new stuff for you. If you're a new player, there's loads of exciting things that might hook you in for like vampires and giants. As you can expect, there's also some new campaigns and stuff in the book, which people have come to expect and are, as usual, filled with awesome illustrations and stuff. So lots of exciting things.
No, that sounds brilliant. So I love this, just like flood of information there. So
yes, here's all the wave of stuff.
Absolutely. So I'm going to take you straight back to what you just said. So I mean, a lot of people out there have been playing Frostgrave for a long time, and you get to that sort of that point within the game where your wizard's level, 20, whatever, and it's like, well, you start, maybe you're cruising through the campaign books a bit easier, so you go off and start your new wizard and but he's the old favorite. So what we're going to see in there is I'm just going to ask some questions. You can say yes or no. So what we're hoping to see in there, and we will see tomorrow, but is we're going to see how to make it more difficult for the wizard when you're playing at that level, or you're going to add more. You're adding more skills, more spells, more all of the above.
Yes, you'll be fleshing out effectively all of the above.
All right.
So you'll be adding more, as you say, more slots for spells and stuff.
Okay.
There's basically more potential to expand everything. So there's kind of more top end. So in terms of your character's growth, there's more stuff in the top end to fill out basically everything.
Right. Okay. So is there any sort of progression in there for your treasure party, your normal guys that you're paying for, your soldiers, your specialists? Is there a progression in there for those guys as well, or is it just at the wizard and apprentice level?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Let me have a dig.
Yeah. No, absolutely. A reason I ask is it's just kind of I just had a conversation about that, and we were sort of thinking about, because some people say they prefer some of Joe's other games because you can develop the characters and your first mate Stargrave. They're separate entities, whereas the apprentice is just a little offshot of your wizard, basically.
Yeah. So specifically, there are some rules covering new apprentices, like experience for new apprentices and stuff. Focus is obviously on your primary wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, now that Joe has so many games that are out, and there's all these like slight variants of rule sets, and there's these different things for people to glom onto, whether you're after something like Oathmark that's a bit more mass scale and you're looking for something that's a bit grander, or whether you're looking at really drilling in. Like, I've been playing a lot of the Stargrave solo stuff from Q37. And being able to like really drill into like individual like character narrative moments, I think.
No, absolutely.
I really enjoy, like, it feels like the opposite end of the spectrum, and I like that all the games kind of have that. There's so many different avenues to explore.
No, absolutely. Yeah, and you can see where Joe sort of goes when he's taking this off to that level and that bit off to this way. And there's bits. It's like just like in Stargrave, you get stunned if you take more than 4 points damage from range fire, and I'm like, that would be awesome in Frostgrave, And then it's like but I'm playing Frostgrave and going, oh, you're stunned. Oh no, you're not. It's wrong game.
And I think when the game first came out, when Stargrave first came out, so many people were like, oh, is this just Frostgrave in space? And I think the fact that there are differences,
no,
I really like that. I like that it isn't just a 1-for-1. We're just switching,
no,
space balance.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not the same. It's very different in my mind. It's a lot, still loads of fun, but it's definitely different. We're playing it at the club. Yeah, we're playing a campaign at the club at the moment, and it's brilliant. And you get lots of thematic sort of moments. We're playing 3-player games and 2-player games mostly. The 3-game player is absolutely hilarious. They're absolutely brilliant. So, and the way you have to unlock things and all that, so you don't just run up and I've got the treasure. You have to get your deckers. So yeah, it's good. So that's nice that they're going to put some new bits and pieces in for your apprentice. So the next question I'm going to be going after. So we're talking about new fire giants. I've not seen any fire giant models. I don't believe I've seen any fire giant models. Are they going to be something that's going to be coming out?
So I have no news that I can give you on models specifically.
Okay.
I do work quite closely with Nick from North Star, who is obviously doing our official miniatures line.
Indeed.
Lots of stuff. I have nothing specific I can give you, but what shall I say?
I think you've said all you need to say. Is the honest answer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I think we can take.
My butt speaks words.
Yeah. I think we know exactly what that's. So there's really good news that we don't know what's going to happen. But I can't wait to see them then. So no, that's good. I mean, that's one thing I love about the Osprey and North Star collaboration, as you put those the new books come out, and we get those new figures to being developed. I mean, I love loads of the sculpts. I'm not going to be hide it. I love North Star figures. I've really got into them. Cobblestone stuff that I know he does. I know Mark does some of the sculpts for the North Star range as well. There's lots of figures. The Oathmark, Frostgrave, Rangers, all of the stuff there. I'm a big fan of. So I'm looking forward to seeing something new for Frostgrave. So that's good. That sounds very interesting. It'd be good to see some more infantry and bits and pieces, because it's like you said, you take it back to the beginning. We're going to have another box of something that we can kit bash with. We can go out there, and I know I'm not trying. You can go and buy a sprue of something from these sprue people if that's what you want to do. I'm not suggesting that's what you want us to do, but you could pick that one sprue up from something and then kit bash that into a wizard and all the stuff, which all of the North Star stuff just fits seamlessly. You know, we see that with Stargrave. We see the dwarves with lasers, but from Oathmark they got lasers, and they're building the arms. You can just get weapon arms for Stargrave to fit your Frostgrave figures as well. So it just fits lovely. Everything.
That's what I like about it, is the miniatures agnostic element of it.
Yeah.
Meaning that you can bring kind of whatever your particular flavor is from whatever stuff that you're into to your particular miniatures, which I think is cool. Like there's obviously Warhammer is the big elephant in the room for so many people, and I think the idea of being so locked into one specific, this is what your miniatures must look like, I think to suddenly realize that you can break away from that is very freeing for people. Personally, I quite like looking through the ranges and being like, oh, actually I can kit bash like some of these miniatures with some of these, and I know that the North Star ones, for example, will work together. Like that's a real big boon for me, particularly as an adult who has responsibilities and like there's only a certain amount of time to go digging for stuff.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that's, I think I mean, for me, I come from a basis as if I've got lots of toy soldiers. So when I get into a new game, there's things I don't want to necessarily go and do. I want to go and buy a whole new bunch of kit. Now, when I went into Frostgrave, I had some Anglo-Saxon figures from Footsore Miniatures. Actually, they're from Footsore Miniatures, and that's what I had, and that's what I painted up as Rangers. I made them a bit sort of grim dark, sort of made them a bit mouldier, and I put some fantasy weapons in their hands and that sort of stuff. And they look nice, and I was like, right, that's that. And then I was like, oh, I'm not buying any more this, that, and I just asked if anybody had any spare zombies, and somebody gave me some metal zombies from the 90s, so I painted them up. I painted them up, and that's what I started with, and then I sort of got into it, and now I've got all the plastics and all the metals, and I went on a bit of a spree with the metals because I just really like them. So once I get into it, I'm happy to go and invest in it. But there's still some monsters like in a lot of the Osprey games that just aren't out there, and you have to sit there and think, and that's where the kit bashing comes into. That's where the figure agnostic stuff comes into. I'm just going to press pause. So yeah, the agnostic part of it, you can go off and find some interesting animals and some monsters. I mean, I don't know what other people are doing, but I like for Oathmark, I know it's not Frostgrave, but for Oathmark, I've bought different monsters from various different guys, but I know when the monsters come out, I'm going to buy the ones that they bring out from North Stars, like the trolls. I've got printed trolls, and they put up the resin ones, and I went and bought those at £48, which I didn't need to do, but I thought they're the limited edition ones that they used for the mouldings. Okay. And I just like, I want them just to be a bit show offy, and Nick was good enough to stick something else in there for me as well. But yeah, no, it's that's the beauty of this game, the agnostic side of it. I know as a company you obviously would like us to go and buy all of that, but you're not so precious around that. And there's also, like you said, we haven't got an ABC on this is how your people should look. That's really big important. I love that bit of it. I don't know whose idea it was to introduce non-Caucasian looking people onto the sprues as well. That was massive. I noticed myself as an old war gamer, and this may be going off on a bit of a tangent, but I always put everything I did was always white and male. And then I got into Frostgrave, and I saw that, and I was like, hang on, I've never painted a black person. I have painted Asians. I've got some Japanese samurai, but most of them have got face masks and things like that. So, but I've never painted anybody black, and I've never seen any models in a wargaming sense that basically, aren't Zulus, or they're in, bare-chested running around with
some kind of difficult stereotype.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm like, I haven't. It's challenged me to paint because I've never painted in black and brown tones, basically, and I think that's fantastic. It's just, it brings I can do anything I want to do, and I don't have to have something that well, Osprey tells me I should have is the answer to that question. I'm not being saying, well, this is the law, end of conversation. So
I think it makes games so much more accessible. Like the idea, like my first games of Frostgrave, some friends and I had some old like Lord of the Rings miniatures, and fine, we just like they were kicking around from the like the 2000s or whatever. Hadn't played the miniatures game in a long time, and perfect. Like you can use anything. Like we would gather together like old the first skeletons I used were old Hero Quest skeletons.
Oh right, yeah.
The old minis with the sides over.
Yeah, the sides. I got some of them somewhere.
Takes me right back. But I like that, first of all, the entry point is very accessible for people who have got, particularly this point where everyone's got some Kickstarter stuff or some miniatures that they bought because they really liked the look of them or whatever, and the idea that you can incorporate that. And like to go to what you're saying about like painting people of different skin tones and from different backgrounds, like gaming is very much about an expression of self, isn't it? Like trying to find who you are and what you want to express through that. But I think the idea that now we can kind of go to the next level of that and say, this is an expression of who I am, but also I can kind of explore in a safe space the idea of people from different cultures and different diversities, and like bring that in. Like having seen some of the discussion in like Stargrave, for example, people discussing like on different planets like what things can look like the idea that you're not locked down into one particular this is what your narrative is going to look like, I think is huge. Like we as a company are doing everything that we can to try and increase diversity, because it's something that I see as being very positive personally.
Absolutely.
It's really good to bring not only new people into our game, but into the gaming space in general. Like if we've found ourselves with strong representation, then there are some people who won't have that, and it's great to bring those people in and to try and get some new fresh blood, right? Like
absolutely.
I say this as someone who very much is feeling like I'm getting older by the minute, and like knowing that
Benji,
actually
tell me that.
there are new generations of people below us who are coming in who are having different gaming experiences, and that's great.
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up in a world of wargaming where I was a geek when I was 14, 15, and I was playing with men in their 20s and 30s because I come and played in the military war game clubs. My old man was in the Air Force, and I let's go, my 20s I didn't play so much, but late 20s, early 30s, it was still middle-aged men, white predominantly, and now I go to places like Salute and I turn on the TV and I watch some amazing ladies doing painting. I see go to the shows and I see young people going around, and that's what it should be about. And people, I don't want gatekeepers. Not everybody's. I'm come from a historical background, and I really do, and I still love all that sort of stuff. And this sort of last 2 years, I've got back into fantasy from back in the day when I played AD&D, and I loved AD&D. I still love AD&D. 5th edition's all right, but it's not AD&D. So it's just really good to see, and people may not like to hear that, but tough. It's my belief. I'm not trying to make this political, but I want to see young women coming into play. I want to see what's the problem with a dad teaching or a mum's teaching sons to play it, but certainly dads. Let's be honest. This is a sort of mostly a male-dominated sport game, and that's been brilliant. So I really like how that's been not pushed, but it's just being opened up like it should be. So
I think the space for role-play games has really had an interesting effect on war games in particular. I think that cross-pollination between people, particularly from playing Dungeons and Dragons, into the wargaming space is fascinating to me. Like, because Dungeons and Dragons had an increase in their sort of tabletop physical presence for like 4th edition, and now even in 5th edition, they're still trying to sort of utilize miniatures to make people feel slightly more comfortable to understand their sort of imagination with how things are going. And then quickly you take a step from that into a wargaming space, and I think that's bringing over new audiences. And I think I'm really interested to see where that goes. Like, it means that some of our games are able to then more comfortably have some slightly more role play elements, and we're starting to be able to incorporate some of that into it and give that kind of a bit more of a narrative.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. And we go back to topic because we have rabbit hole there, but we go back to the Frostgrave is a narrative campaign. It's a narrative game. You get the thematics of it all. You know, try to run away. You know, you can make that decision to run away, and you know, and all those. The amount of games that we've had, it's just I've laughed. That's really important.
Yeah.
So, but we are going to bring you back to vampires because you said you like vampires. I like vampires. We both agreed vampires are cool. So, are they good vampires? Or are they bad vampires?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Ultimately, bad vampires. Vampires. Yeah. I mean, in Blood Legacy, the idea of being turned into a vampire is an exciting one, but a scary one.
Yes.
There are rules for becoming a vampire. Not that you would want to become a vampire, but it's there.
Okay. Cool.
So there's some exciting stuff. I think for me particularly, I'm quite excited by the idea of being able to run like big haunted mansion kind of scenarios. Like I really like the kind of vampire estate and kind of like trying to explore new spaces like Vampire Hunters. Like I grew up reading the old Felix and Grotek novels.
Oh yeah. And I've never read them before, and I've just listened to I can't remember which book. Yeah. Oh no, Brian Blessed does them. I didn't know that.
He's got he's done
the audio books I've been listening to. Is that Brian Blessed? Is it? Oh.
Yeah, that's Brian Blessed. Oh boy, those were really big for me. And the idea of being able to like play out that kind of scenario is huge.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I love that. I've been looking for that narrative. I don't read so much. I listen to audio because while I'm painting, but because I know there's some Frostgrave books out there, and I'm like, are they on audio? Why aren't they on audio? I want to listen to those. But
that's an interesting request. I will see if I can drum up enough interest.
Yes, definitely. I'll be up for some of that. But yeah, that's it's intriguing. So we got some sort of Van Helsing type characters. That sounds cool. Everybody likes a stake firing gun or something like that. So yeah, no, that'd be cool. And then, like you said, so we can make up. So are we going to be able to make up the vampires to build a campaign around? Is that what it's like, or you said that because how I heard that was like, well, we can make these people up and then we can use it to write our own adventure. We've already got the adventure that's written that Joe's done for us, so we can do that. But is that what the suggestion is? Is, you know, here's some ideas, guys, go and run with it.
Indeed.
I love it.
And I'll give you a little hot thing that I'm currently working on. And this is, for clarity, not in the book. This is something that I'm personally working on. The idea of sun damage is a thing that's kind of discussed in the book, like trying to avoid light and stuff. So I'm looking at seeing if I can house rule like a sun lamp and have like a game that has like shadows cast and specifically playing around shadows from like terrain and stuff.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really good actually. I've got loads of lights for painting. So
the second I saw it mentioned in the book as just like a cursory thing of like, vampires will try and avoid the light, like that'd be really cool. Like be it like huge like estate windows, like stained glass windows, but having like not only terrain for you to interact with, but also terrain casting maybe moving shadows to try and interact with as well.
Oh no, that sounds really good. Okay, when you get that sorted out, I know you're in Oxford, so you have to invite me over.
I'll give you my bits.
We come and have a go at that. So
that's my exciting project.
Oh, that sounds really cool, actually. Yeah. So
like I say, that's not in the book. That is not in the book. That's just some exciting Benji nonsense.
No. It sounds like good nonsense to me. We all like it. So that sounds really good because one of the things I love about the Frostgrave and all the other bits and pieces is people do latch onto these and start creating their own campaigns and their own supplements and all that sort of stuff. And it sounds like this is lending its way to more of that, which is absolutely fantastic because I love doing that. I love just sort of making my own narrative up and make a bit of my own lore and that sort of stuff. And I know there's probably a lot of listeners out there that love doing that too. That's why they're sitting here listening to this, hopefully, or playing Frostgrave because they like that sort of thing.
It's something I was talking to Joe about actually at Salute. We were discussing people specifically gravitating to like certain elements of the book, like certain key pieces of art or photography that we have, and sort of taking that as a little imagination seed, and then that becoming sort of how the game gets played. Joe was talking with me about some Ghost Archipelago stuff, and how people had specifically seen some of the key art for it, and then that started inspiring some people's games for stuff.
All right, cool.
And I think it's really interesting. Like, all it takes is to have a few photographs, let's say, with a certain color scheme, and suddenly you'll start seeing more warbands coming out with a similar color scheme and a similar look. And it's interesting as a publisher seeing those little seeds and where they can get taken, where they sort of grow out into, because obviously further down the line, if that's something that people are really into, then that can blossom into an entirely different its own supplement, like for this, for example. Or I guess to sort of lead forward ahead, looking at Frostgrave Fireheart, like constructs, like having we've covered constructs a little bit. We're really into the idea of them, and then that can blossom and bloom into its own supplement later on.
Yeah, no, I like the constructs. I like the idea around being able to having lots of different models to make a construct. I've got some 3D printed stuff that I've got little wooden dudes and all these other things going on. So like a rock, sort of like a lava rock thing that somebody's conjured up, and so the thought of all that's quite exciting as well. So no, that's super cool. So it sounds like there's going to be a lot going on in the book, and you're saying you're loading up that stuff today. So does that mean I can go on to Osprey in 10 minutes after we finish this and go? It might be longer, but look at that, guys.
So spell cards are now up. The ambush cards are now up as well.
Ambush cards.
So there are now there's an ambush deck of cards that can kind of affect play and give sort of persistent effects and create sort of individual instances, I suppose, with like a randomized effect. So kind of like the we've had some decks of cards that we put out, like the ulterior motives cards.
Yeah, the ulterior motives. Yeah.
So you kind of think along those lines. So those are now available as a download. They're in the back of the book, but they are printer friendly as a download for free on our resources page. Also, you can find those on the Facebook group. They're now pinned in the big resources featured.
I'll some of the descriptions. Apple will let me load them up, so I'll put the tabs in on here, guys, so you can double click on those. Are they? Well, you say they're printer friendly. Are they also printer friendly, as in the printing? So if I went to a printer and asked them to print a deck of cards off for me, can we do that?
That should be fine, and that should work. I believe so.
Yeah, it's a lot. I know a lot of printing companies will ask if you got permission. So I take it there's just a little doodah on the link, as you can send it to the printer and say, yeah, look, here you go.
That's actually one of the things that we're currently talking about internally, is the idea of like doing this, trying to interact with the community a bit more, and trying to sort of foster a lot more like crowd growth. And I think one of the things we're kind of exploring is like sharing resources and stuff with the community, so that, you know, in this exact example, like if people want to go and get cards printed and stuff, obviously there's certain restrictions that we have.
No, absolutely,
copyright and whatnot.
Yeah, but nobody should be making any money out of what you guys have worked hard for, apart from you and Joe, and but we don't want people getting stuff off of you and then trying to print a bucket load of stuff in China and importing it back. No, thank you very much. No, because I'm rabbit holing again, but that does damage our industry. Let's be serious about it.
Of course.
Whether you discussion about GW and recasts, people say, oh yeah, they've got billions of pounds. That's not the point. It's really not the point. It's just, you're taking money out of the hobby, which I remember when I was a lad. There was nothing there. It was a cottage industry, and now it's not so much of a cottage industry. And I've heard it's been said before that it's this, we're in a renaissance of wargaming at the moment, and it's amazing. There's just so much out there, and I don't think I would even have the time to play everything. So from that point of view, if you take this away from companies that are producing quality product, by doing something like that, that's going to be a problematic for somebody in the future. Because Joe's not going to write something if he's not going to make any money off of it, because he's got to feed his family.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so like we all do. But yeah, sorry, I'm just getting on a little hobby horse of mine there. So.
It's an interesting discussion though, because as we become more technologically advanced, and it's easier for companies like ours to put out products like this. At the same time, it's also easier for other companies to make fakes and to put out pirated materials and stuff, which does really damage us. It does really damage companies. Like you can say what you want about like GW whatever, but also there's so many hundreds and hundreds of companies underneath who do not have the same overheads and the same kind of scale. Like Osprey are nowhere near like the scale of that. So those things that will still even affect like companies like Games Workshop, when you take that down to the next couple of layers of publishers, it hurts them significantly more.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I've been using we're going to rabbit hole again. This isn't, I'm not being paid for this, guys. Just want to put that out there. This isn't me being sponsored. This is me being honest. I was using Osprey books when I was a teenager. The military plate books.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've been using them since the 80s. I've still got some of my books that I got bought for my 12th birthday from my uncle on the French Napoleonic Guard, because that was my first thing, 15mm Napoleonic. So I used them as painting guides. So, and I want Osprey to be around when I want to buy my books for my little nephew, who's 7 at the moment, but he's more into racing cars. I'll twist him.
That's fine. It's fine. Get him into Gaslands and just one step.
I didn't think of that. I've got Gaslands, and he's got loads of cars. We could do that. We should do that. Be yeah, I'm loving it. See, look at that.
Always on it. I'm always.
Yeah. He's already converting the next level. Anyway, so we will move on again a little bit here. So anything else that you think you can cover in Blood Legacy that I haven't rabbit holed or spoken about?
I think we have hit all of the big, exciting, sexy stuff.
Excellent. I like big and exciting, sexy stuff. That sounds really good. Now I've said that out loud, but yeah, that's really bad. I like good stuff. Anyway, I should just shut up now. Anyway, so we're going to move on over to our side topic. So our side topic today is, what warband are you using and why? So that's go.
Would you like me to start?
Yeah. I know what warband I'm using.
So specifically, which game should we talk about?
Well, let's start with Frostgrave. I think we can only start there, as we're talking Blood Legacy.
Oh, so I'm obviously with Blood Legacy, I'm specifically setting myself up so that I can start playing all of Blood Legacy's campaigns, working my way through. So I actually don't have anything together yet.
Oh wow!
I've got nothing ready. Got nothing prepared in the chamber.
Oh no! Okay. Terrible. Okay, well,
like I say, I'm putting Stargrave stuff together.
Right. Well, let's go Stargrave, because we'll just take a sidestep there. What are you doing with Stargrave?
So, as I mentioned before, I'm playing a lot of Q37 stuff because I love my horror. I love my zombies. So I am putting together my monkey men. So I've got all of my primate themed group. They are initially, because I used to play a lot of Necromunda.
Okay.
So I really liked all the real tech heavy stuff. I liked all of the like heavy equipment, all of that sci-fi stuff. Was never generally one for all the psionics and all that kind of thing. I like the heavy gear. So I've gone for like a real tech heavy build. The idea being of like monkeys with wrenches, big heavy equipment. So I'm taking that idea and running it into my zombie campaign.
Nice.
And it's an interesting sort of juxtaposition.
Yeah, zombies and versus monkeys.
Zombies versus monkeys is my thing.
Apes.
Yeah, apes. Yeah, I suppose I probably shouldn't use it quite so loosely, but yeah. How about yourself?
At the moment, Frostgrave wise, actually, sorry, Nick, I am using my Imperial Assault figures because I have got a bucket a ton of Star Wars Imperial Assault from back when that came out, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get time to play this. And then there was like at the club, they're like, let's get the campaign on. I was like, oh, I haven't got any models. Oh, wait there. So Boba Fett is obviously my leader. He's my captain. He was a veteran. He has a grenade launcher. He has combat armor. And then I've got a massive series of different Star Wars figures, basically, for my crew. I've gone. They're all sort of quite shooty. I'm in one of my favorite films is Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
So my crew is basically named after every character, pretty much every character in Apocalypse Now. My spaceship's called Charlie Don't Surf. So we are some sort of hodgepodge bunch of mercenaries flying around space and having great fun. Actually, at the moment, I'm second in the campaign. My experience points with I can't remember now. 1,200 and something experience points. So we're loving it. It's fantastic. I went kind of shooty because I just was like, I'm not going to read through all the rules for the psychics and that. So and I just went shooty, and shooty seems to really work for me at the moment. So
that takes me back to playing role play games and being like, oh, I've got this book and I'm going to build my character, but there's quite a lot of pages for the spells for the wizard. I might just ignore those. Can I make something hitty?
Yeah. Hitty is good. And if hitty doesn't work, then you can go back and get time to read the rules. And at the moment, like I said, I'm second, so all's good.
Well, the Imperial Assault minis are beautiful.
They are.
Game. It's amazing.
Yeah. To be honest, they've been set up in a box, not painted. We've played through the campaigns and stuff like that. So I was quite happy, and then I was pulling it out, and I was like, "Oh, hang on, I can use that for Oathwire because I had one of those sand banthas for the sand people had, and it looks like a woolly rhino. So that's now going to be an Oathwire Indrik." And I was like, "Oh, this is quite good." And the Rancor is my I've got from the Jabba the Hutt set. He's the sewer dragon.
Cool.
So there's loads of stuff. So, but yeah, I'm playing Frostgrave at the moment, but we're going through the first book again, second edition, because my friend hadn't played it before. So I have currently got a summoner as my warband wizard, mostly because I've got imps and I like firing them around, and it really gets on his nerves. So because he for some reason he's really bad at throwing dice against imps, and I've killed his captain a couple of times, one of his apprentice a few times with casting an imp near him, and it's like, oh. It's a great little and then as it gets higher, I'm hoping to be able to cast some major demons and use the extra bits and pieces on there, because I've got a Cthulhu. I can't see it. I've got a big Cthulhu printed model of a major demon, so I've got a thing about Cthulhu.
All I can think of is that huge Cthulhu. Is it Cthulhu Must Die? The miniature that's like the size of a toddler.
Oh yeah. No, it's not that one. I hate to think how much that would cost, but no, it's I can't remember which one it is. It's one of the minor demons in Cthulhu anyway, but he's big. He's a big lad. So I'm like, I want that, and I'd like to have it on there because Cthulhu's there for me. So I know Joe's done some bits and pieces for that's not one of your games. That's Rangers of the Shadow Deep.
Games.
It's Rangers of the Shadow Deep. But there's some guys have done some Cthulhu sort of mods and stuff like that. So, but I love Cthulhu. I used to play the role-playing game absolute buckets, and who doesn't want to play a game where all your characters go insane and lose?
Yeah.
You know, you're going to lose a character. It doesn't matter what you do; he's going to go insane.
Non-wargamey, but I've spent quite a long time playing the Arkham card game, the collectible card game.
Oh,
and
right, okay.
oh boy, the characters going slowly insane and being killed off, and just how difficult the game is so pleasurable, because there's no other board game that really gives you that experience of that Cthulhu. Everyone's going to go mad, and that's part of the experience. Like, it's supposed to be a little bit unpleasant and a bit of a grind. And the idea of bringing that actually to a gameplay experience, I think, is really interesting, because people do it in books, they do it in films. It's quite hard to convey, I think, when you're in a sense of play.
I think you have to. I mean, Cthulhu's been that. I was playing that back in the 80s, so it's been out there for a while, and I definitely a group of individuals that play that just know that it's not like I'm going to get to level 400 and my super shotgun's going to kill everything. No, Cthulhu will kill you or make you mad.
Before.
It's just how long you can last, and then you're like, yay! I got through another one. He's nearly insane. So I love that sort of stuff. So, but actually, it's a side topic. There's a role-playing game that incorporates Frostgrave or actually Oathmark, because that's what I want to do.
Interesting.
I would love to have that side of things as well, to explore I was talking to somebody about doing an Oathmarky through the March is sort of that Dark Age esque sort of side of things, so you can combine Dark Age role playing and the fantasy side, because we were talking about using the new Warhammer Fantasy 4th edition that's come out, because I used to play that back in the day as well, when that first came out. We were sort of talking about it, but there's obviously I've so much on. I'd have to have somebody do it for me. But there's a thing for the future. Do it, Joe. Do it. I don't know if you can do it.
I would say when he runs out of ideas, but I will.
I don't think he will. I mean, Silver Bayonet's just come out, which is really picked up, which is awesome. The figures look amazing. Again, vampires, you got some really good horror stuff going on there. So I have played a couple of solo games here, and I'm loving it. So I'm shooting wolves. I'm going to get me some Russians, because I have got a werebear. So I finished painting in the 20 for 20, 30 for 30 even thing.
That's awesome.
Doing. So awesome. I'm actually quite proud of the paint job I've done on him. I've spent some bit extra time on him, so I want to get that into my Russian warband. So
I'm so jealous. My painting is absolutely dire. It's just dreadful.
It's technique, mate. I'm no artist. It's just technique, and I'm lucky enough to have on tap a professional painter to ask tips from, who's Ian, who does some painting for North Star. So he's over in the US. Oh, you know Ian. Yeah. So we talk quite a bit. And I say, what can I do to this? And he's like, do that. And I go, oh yeah, that's really good. So it is, for me, it's technique. So I just keep practicing. Do 30 for 30, mate. That's the plan.
Yeah, and I think actually that's a great way for people to get into stuff and like keep at it, right? Because so much of it is just being persistent with your hobby and like picking stuff up. I think for me, knowing that there are contrast washes, the fallback of an airbrush. I have a friend who's invested in an airbrush, and knowing that you can do like a halfway decent job and just skip some kind of impressionist stuff, and it just means that you can like blanket spray a load of stuff, and you can get some stuff on the table if you want to just get gaming.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The problem is, just love gluing stuff. Just love putting them together.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I sit there and get the whole army out, base it up, and then I go and buy, like I did, and buy a whole 10mm cobblestone army for. Well, I haven't decided yet, but I've got a 10mm orc army from the cobblestone castings from North Star. It's going to be an Oathmark / something else. Other games, I don't know yet, but I must not be distracted. Anyway, I'm going to move on, and we're going to move on to the 10 questions. Now, you may not have heard this, but the question is, If you were going to be a monster in Frostgrave, what monster will it be?
Oh, that's a good question. And my go-to, obviously, because of Blood Legacy, would be to say vampire, because I think they're awesome. However, there is one specific thing that is really captured my imagination, which are the leech hounds.
Yes.
Oh boy, that's
Yeah.
definitely that. The idea of being slick and fast, but also so cosmic horror, like cosmic horrific. Oh, that's exciting to me.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's a good. That's definitely a good one.
They're just so creepy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like there's not many people who would have that as a go-to, but there you go.
Fair enough. But for me, if I'm gonna be anything, I would have to say I'm gonna be a blood bat, just because I want to fly and suck everybody's blood.
Well, it's invisibility or it's flying.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we could chuck a bit of spellcaster in and do the dragon. That's probably what I would really do, actually. Now I think about it.
Slightly more powerful.
Yeah. Just
you get the flying, but you also get impressive.
Barbecue on spec.
Yeah.
Oh, this one's in a tin. No, well, I'd like to thank you for coming on and doing this episode with me, Benji. It's really appreciated. I know the listeners are going to be interested in what we have to say. I'm sure they are. I am going to put this out as soon as possible, maybe tonight even, if I can get it edited up and onto all the bits and pieces. I can't promise that, but it'll certainly be out by tomorrow, and I will put this out as a special edition. That's right, we're having special editions, because why would we talk about something brand new and not put it out straight away? So guys, I'd like to say thank you, Benji.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's okay, and I'd like to thank you, the listener, and I will say good night, good morning, and good afternoon. And now I'll try and stop recording.
Now the reverse padding will give